is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
All righty. There we are. There he is. The man, the myth, the legend. How you feeling, baby? You feeling good?
Feeling good. Went to get a haircut yesterday, so I'm whatever hair I've got left, I've kind of got organized now after felt like 2 months there because of COVID. I didn't get to go out and see the barber, but I got my hair cut and I'm feeling good, bro. How are you?
You know, I haven't cut my hair in 2 years.
Really?
With a barber. My wife's been cutting it. Just
my wife did it once and then I stopped. I said,
Yeah. Well, mine's a little easier than yours, probably. That's why too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even
a little
longer, it's easier actually.
Yeah,
It's a lot easier actually. So yeah, I have to. I'm actually gonna go to a barber this weekend. I gotta do that before I go to Vegas. I gotta have a decent haircut, and get the right trim, as they say. All right, Manny. What are you hearing coming off of the spring game? What are they happy and unhappy with so far?
Well, I think the way you always sort of judge that is what they're looking for in the transfer portal, right? Who they're looking to add. I think linebacker is an area where today we could get one of the answers as far as potential replacement, a potential starter with Caleb Johnson, who's started 17 games in his career over at UCLA, potentially a starting middle linebacker. I think odds are really good he's going to pick Miami over Texas. My sources tell me. And then I think, if you can also find a second upgrade, another kid that just entered the portal out of Arizona State yesterday, Gentry, right. Freshman All-American, 6'6", 200 pounds. Another kid that they're interested in potentially for that weak side. And I think receiver, if there's a way to find more help at the receiver position, I think they'll happily take that. You got a really young team at that position, a lot of second-year freshmen, and guys that are going to be counted on. Charleston Rambo had a phenomenal year last year. I think if you can find another Charleston Rambo somehow in the portal, you go after it. But the help has come in. They got Akeem Mesidor the other day on the defensive line, so I think that's kind of in a much better spot than it was. They've picked up 4 transfers in total overall on the defensive line. Kid out of Maryland that they're having visiting this weekend is another option. He played some last year as a reserve, started, I think, the bowl game for Maryland. Another big body. They're all looking for big body guys to get bigger up front. And so I think those 3 spots, man, and if an Amarius Mims offensive tackle type ends up in the portal, they won't push him away either. This is all about getting better in the trenches, I think, and receiver.
But by the way, before you get to the receiver part,
yeah,
that's kind of been something that we've been concerned about for a few years now, that when we look at our team and when you face a Clemson and you face an Alabama and you face the big time teams, you start looking at the sizes of those players, right. and there was a difference, and you can tell.
Absolutely. And
I think that's obviously Mario just got a mammoth human being that the Lions drafted, last year, and so he understands that that's the kind of human being you need to line up there on both sides of the ball. They have to be that beastly, and Miami has not possessed that very much. We haven't had a Jerome Brown and Russell Marylands and those kind of guys that can push people around. It's been a long, long time since we've had a Calais. What is it? Maybe it is Calais Campbell. Who's our last nasty ass defensive tackle for the Canes? Who's our last guy?
Well, people would say Gerald Willis, who didn't get drafted, but he was an All-American, created a lot of tackles for loss. He played well. He just wasn't
I'm talking about I get it. He had his moment. I'm talking about a guy that had a career for the Canes, and then it translated to the NFL. So that guy was one of those. It was Calais Campbell, I think, was our last.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of a Pro Bowler, absolutely, yeah. I mean,
right. That's what I'm talking about. Russell Maryland and Jerome Brown and and Warren Sapp and when I'm talking about these kind of cats, I'm talking about an absolute disruptor. And I think it might be Campbell, our last guy. Now, the kid that went to Buffalo did a good job, obviously. He disrupted
Rousseau,
at
yeah.
times. And obviously, and Phillips was good too. But the guys I'm talking about were here for 3 years, 4 years, tearing it freaking up, man.
Right, and I think from Mario's point of view too, just the offensive line being dominant up front, pushing asses. Right, that's what he told me. He says I didn't see enough pushing asses backwards. That is a huge concern. He's not trying to build a team to beat Clemson, man. He's trying to build a team to beat Alabama and Georgia, and that's what you're gonna. You need those kind of guys to come here. There's still not enough of those elite type of linemen, maybe any of them here on this roster. So yeah, that's what he's pushing towards. That's what his focus has been. I think the receiver position, I know people were coming out of the spring game saying, oh man, they look terrible, or they dropped too many passes and they didn't hit enough deep balls. First of all, they were very vanilla, okay, on purpose. We know that. Okay. They're not gonna come out here and throw out the whole repertoire.
And by the way, Tyler missed a couple too. Okay,
Tyler missed a couple down the field, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. But at the same time, I think look, Romello Brinson's going to come back. He's an important, they've been talking about him since the moment they signed him. I think if you can get Jacoby George and Keyshawn Smith to play at a consistent elite level, they have the same type of ability that a Charleston Rambo did, in my mind, in terms of talent. Right. So it's just a matter of those guys building that chemistry with Tyler, and then come September 3rd when they go out against Bethune-Cookman, showing that they can do it. But I think overall, the whole point of the offense is to run the ball a whole lot more than they did, be more ball control, keep that defense off the field until it starts playing at a much better level and they start tackling at a much better level, and be balanced. That's what they want. He wants to be a balanced, kick your ass, push you backwards on the offensive line, and hit the big play when you want to hit it. But look, they threw the ball a ton to the tight ends and the running backs, and I think that's going to be a big part of this offense. I liked what I saw out of the offense in the spring game.
Talk a little bit. You wrote a story about some upgrades in the Athletic. Mm-hmm. Talk a little bit about what was said by the AD, and what are they going? Are they going to extend the 80-yard field to 100 inside?
Yeah, that's the plan. They're going to make it a full regulation size. I know that was a point of contention for the coaching staff, because it is a weapon used against you in recruiting, right?
Do they have to extend the building? Is that what they have to do?
They're going to have to extend the building. Yes, okay. They're going to have to extend the building. They're going to have to expand the weight room and make it bigger and better. That's what they want. They're fixing the locker rooms right now. Some of these players, or somebody put out some photos of the locker room all torn up to shreds, wood everywhere on the floor, and they're in the process of doing that. But they need the board of trustees this summer and the community leaders to approve the next expenditure. Let's not forget, they just built this thing in 2018. So it's not like this is something that's 20 years old. It's 5 years old. And they're just going to invest more money into it and make it better and make it more on the level of what the elite programs in college football have. By the way, Miami spent $40 million on that IPF. I just wrote a story on USF, that Wayward program story that I've been telling you about for a while. Right. It finally came out. USF spent $22 million on there. So Miami's 5 years ago already cost $18 million more. Shows you how much they spent on it, how much more they're investing in it compared to a program like USF, who's a group of five school who just they just want to have an indoor practice facility because they've had nothing all of this time. So that shows you how much further ahead Miami is in the game and why that ACC money is so important. And now getting it from other places, it's going to be important. In the long run, they're going to also upgrade the basketball facilities as well. The basketball, right. The Watsco Center is going to have some upgrades. So all that'll happen, I would assume, by 2023, 2024. That'll all be in place.
I know you talked about transfer portal and maybe going after some guys on the line. Any other positions that you're hearing transfer portal wise? Any other names that we should be keeping an eye on?
Well, I mentioned Darrell Williams, who'll be here this weekend, the defensive lineman out of Maryland. Gentry, the kid is a linebacker out of Arizona State, is a name to keep an eye on. I know some people, the receiver who just left UCF, Jalen Robinson, who I think caught 55 balls during the COVID shortened season. Then he was hurt last year. He actually originally came from Oklahoma to UCF. He's the number 3 rated overall player right now in the transfer portal, according to The Athletic. I heard yesterday from a very reliable source who knows where all these guys are headed before they even enter the portal, that he is probably going to be going to SMU to hook up with Rhett Lashley because of the great job that Rhett Lashley did with Charleston Rambo in his offense. I think the kid's originally from Texas, wants to go back to his home state for his last year of eligibility or last 2 years of eligibility. So I think he'll end up at SMU. But look, this is May 1st is the deadline to get in the transfer portal. That's not the deadline to get to a new school. It's the deadline to get in the portal. So you can spend the next 2 or 3 months, having kids sort of decide where they want to end up once their names are in the portal. And I think that's what's going to happen. You'll see more official visits. You'll see more kids entering the portal by May 1st. And then after that, it's wherever they find a home.
Manny, what's De'Aaron King doing, bro?
Trying out to make the NFL any way he can, whether it's receiver, whether it's quarterback. I saw him at Pro Day.
How healthy is he?
He looked healthy to me. He said he's over the shoulder injury. He was out there catching balls. He didn't drop any when I was watching him. He threw a good touchdown pass deep down the field to Mike Harley.
Did he look more like when he played quarterback? He could carry a couple extra pounds.
Yeah, I mean,
if he's going to play running back or receiver or anything like that, he would probably have to be in a little better shape than he was.
I think he was physically. He didn't look fat to me. I didn't see the little rump out there. I saw a thinner, more cut up version of him.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a quarterback, you can get away with it, but
Yeah. No, I look. He's in a tough spot, man. I mean, you can't coach up anybody to be taller than 5'9", right? And that's what he basically is. So he didn't run a great 40 when we were out there. He was disappointed. I think he ran a 4. I don't know, was a 4.6 almost.
Yeah, he's not a great athlete.
And his father, before he died, when he played running back coming out, he was a 4.3 guy. His father had that 4.3 speed, and I think at one point before De'Aaron, I mean, let's not forget this is the second knee injury he's had in his career. I mean,
yeah, that's that too.
At the end of last season,
he's
and
a
then the
solid athlete. He's just not this.
He's not a blazer.
Special. Yeah, he's not special as an athlete. You know what I mean? As a quarterback, he's a pretty good athlete. But if he's going to move over to the other positions, there's not enough there. You root for him because he's such a good human being, bro. God, you want him to succeed.
Absolutely.
In everything.
Absolutely. And I think I could see him entering the coaching ranks and being a coach. I think he has that in him, being that leader, that locker room leader that kids look to. I think he could do a great job doing that. Malik Rozier, by the way, the former Canes quarterback, is actually training in the offseason. He's training Tyler Van Dyke. I think he's still working with N'Kosi Perry. He's got a couple quarterbacks. He's going to actually be down here this weekend. I was exchanging some DMs with him. But he's involved in coaching. I think it's just a matter of time. I think once De'Aaron gets to the point where maybe there's just not a job. But who knows? I mean, with this USFL, Jeff Thomas was playing in the USFL, by the way, the former Canes receiver. We'll see. We'll see once he gets to that point. But I think De'Aaron will make a great coach.
So tell me about Haley and Hannah Cavender.
Big pickup for Katie Meyer, man.
Dude, huh?
I mean,
that's the Ruiz NIL money, baby. Yeah,
that is that. Although I will say they've got plenty of money and plenty of NIL deals all their own.
They're stars, dude. They're they've got like 800,000 followers on Instagram, 4 million on TikTok.
Right.
They're two very good-looking girls. Obviously,
they can play ball. They can play ball.
And they can play ball. So they're not. Put it this way: they did not bring in 2 female. What's the name of that QB from Ohio State?
Oh, Tate Martells.
They didn't bring in 2 Tate Martells. Tate Martell was a pretty kid, right? Yeah. Obviously, with a beautiful girlfriend, but he couldn't play a lick of football. Well, they brought in 2 beautiful women that can actually play basketball, man. So that's pretty good, man.
We may have to do a show from a women's basketball game next year.
I'm cool with Katie. So
I think we may have to go out there for a practice, something. I think it's great. I mean, listen, it's hard for them to get a lot of attention over there. Let's face it. But women's sports, it's kind of their own niche audience with college basketball down here. The men struggle, right? I mean, they didn't even sell 5,000 season tickets last year. So I think It's great for the women's basketball program to have two stars that are going to bring a lot of attention to the program. As we said, both of them can play. I think one of them was the Mountain West Player of the Year, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So it was Haley.
Hannah was on the All Mountain West team.
Right. And so I think it's going to be great for her in the basketball program to get some attention in ways that they haven't in the past, and hopefully that helps them with recruiting and gets other people over here to consider Miami. Because look, they had a good run, I think, to the second round of the tournament, and they ran into that buzzsaw that is South Carolina. So there's still a huge gap between where Miami is as a program in women's hoops with the elite teams, and hopefully they can creep up into there in the years to come.
Yeah, let's hope so, man. All right, what are you working on the Athletic so folks can subscribe and check you out, my friend?
Well, I would say at 6 o'clock, be sure to read my Caleb Johnson story, because he will be making an announcement at 6 o'clock Eastern, 3 o'clock Pacific. So I have something ready to go when he makes his announcement. And beyond that, man, I mean, look, we have a ton of stories to read. You teased to the Radakovic story of what he talked about this week. That's on there. I have a good feature on the UCLA defensive end Mitchell Agude and everything he kind of overcame in his life, ending up at Miami. So there's a lot to read there. There'll be more, man. There's a lot more. Of
course, yeah.
Right. But
you write in your sleep, bro. I mean, this is ridiculous.
There's a lot.
How do you do it? I have no idea. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah. In the meantime, I will be going to Top Golf and hitting some balls here shortly before our boy Caleb gets to making his announcement. But I will definitely be busy in the weeks to come with all the
Miami Gardens one. Is that the one you go to? The one
Doral down in Doral.
Wow, by my house in Doral.
Yes,
okay.
Yes, I will be down that way. I'm way west. I'm way out here in Pines, West Pines.
I think I'm going to talk to. We should be doing a show at Top Golf. What do you think, Sean? That would be. I could actually do the show while I'm talking and hitting some golf balls. I mean,
I don't see why not. Let's get that done.
Get a headset,
Yeah. I'm all for it.
We have a lavalier. Oh, we have lavaliers and everything. We're set here.
That's all we need, bro. Come on.
We have equipment here, unlike stations locally that they can't even put anything together. Anyway, follow him on Twitter at Manny_Navarro. Catch his work there at The Athletic. Manny, have a fantastic weekend and hit them straight, my man.
All right, brother. You take care.
You got it. That's our Canes Wear Miami Hurricanes report.